Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to the Inside the Mind podcast, episode 19, where I interview the members of the Hardcore Sports Network. And I'm here with my guy who's a 49ers fan, a Golden State Warriors fan, and a biker. How you doing, Ted? My guy Ted, Tech Talks Ball. How you doing?
Good, Mitch. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Just chilling, relaxing. I had good food. I'm ready to go. How about you?
Yeah, can't complain. Just ate a little breakfast, dropped my son off at camp, and fired it up to chop it up with you. It's been a while, so excited to get caught up with
Yeah,
all the
I
goings
mean, the
on.
last time we did something, I think it was the Eagles vs. Niners on your channel. That was the last thing I remember.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
The famous Dom game.
Yeah, yeah, but let's just get right into it, shall we? How'd you become a content creator? Like, what's your story leading up to it?
Oh, okay. Well, it all started back in 2019 during COVID. I had a feeling that the 49ers were going to be pretty good in 2019, even before the season started. We had Jimmy G coming back from his ACL. We had, we just drafted Nick Bosa. We had just picked up D Ford from the Chiefs. Fred Warner was ascending. George Kittle was ascending. Um, so I just had a feeling the 49ers were going to contend. So I just started following it more closely, following it on Twitter, arguing with 49ers fans, arguing with fans of other fan bases. And over several years, my Twitter following grew. It was growing at about 2,000 followers a year back then. And at some point, I was in a chat group with somebody named Zach Hernandez, and he runs 49ers Hive. And at some point, he offered me, said, "Hey, do you ever want to write articles about the 49ers?" And I was like, "Absolutely, I would love to." So I started writing articles for 49ers Hive, and I did that for about a year and a half. And right around the beginning of the 2021 season, I decided, I'd seen some other people do this kind of thing where they start out writing articles and then they started a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, you know what, I'd like to do a YouTube channel. And so I went and asked Grant Cohn, who's a pretty big 49ers YouTube guy. His dad Lowell covered the 49ers in the 80s and 90s during the Camelot years, the dynasty years for the 49ers. And he said, yeah, go ahead and you should start a YouTube channel, and here's what to do. He said, you're already following and have a lot of content creators who follow you back on Twitter and X. So he said, go ahead and ask them all to come on the show. And he said, most of them probably will. And sure enough, most of them did. And he said, after you have them on, then have me on. And Grant came on a couple times and had me on once or twice onto his show. And that's sort of the story. Started writing articles and then started YouTube. And it's been a lot of fun ever since.
Yeah, yeah, especially with the 49ers fans, they are ruthless. I know a lot of them, and they're a crazy bunch. So I don't know how you put up with that, but
I mean, this is coming from an Eagles fan.
trust me, I know a lot of 49ers fans. I know
Yeah,
more,
I
a
think
lot of
I
49ers.
think we're talking about two different things. I'm talking about Eagles fans at the vet or the
Yeah,
link or whatever they're calling
I
it
mean,
these days.
yes, I mean we threw batteries at Santa and all that stuff, but
Yeah. But I
I
think
know
you
all
mean
that.
online, and
I
49ers
meant
fans are
online.
brutal
Yes, yes,
online.
yes.
And I'll tell you what, I found that out last off season when I was maybe a little overcritical of Brock Purdy, maybe a
Yeah,
little too honest about what I saw in camp because it did not look good in camp.
right.
He was throwing a lot of picks, a lot of pick sixes, a lot of incompletions. And literally every deep ball that Brock Purdy threw in training camp last year was either short or long, except for maybe one pass. And so I think he only completed one long pass in all of training camp. And I was very honest about what I saw, and I said, I have concerns about him for the beginning of the year. And, he gradually got better during preseason. And by the beginning of the season, he was playing well. His statistics were good, but you could really see by mid to late season, he had really improved beyond where he was in 2022 and to a whole new level where he was actually one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL last year. And not only that, but peeling off a lot of long runs and stuff like that. But it hurt me, my whole YouTube, and Twitter, X following. I had a lot of people block me, mute me. It was brutal for sure. And, and I'd said that, I thought that there should be an open competition between Trey Lance and Brock Purdy. Trey Lance looked the best in camp. I was surprised a little that there was no competition between those two. I kind of understood it because of how well Brock played in 2022. But what really surprised me was that there didn't even really seem to be an open competition between Trey Lance and Sam Darnold. And that really blew me away. But, luckily Brock never really got too injured last season. So we never had to see Sam Darnold other than week 18 against the Rams when we basically let Brock rest. It wasn't an injury, but it was just and I will say one thing about it with his injuries was he did sustain a concussion against the Vikings. Brock Purdy did. And I was really surprised that he was cleared to play 6 days later against the Bengals. And I was there at that game and he did not look good. Joe Burrow carved us up. But bottom line is they were right to install Brock Purdy. I think it was a mistake to install Sam Darnold, but it never really bugged us too much. We did lose to the Rams when Sam Darnold started, but it didn't matter. It was a meaningless game. So who cares? But when I thought of Trey Lance, I thought, this is the only guy on our roster who will ever be able to do what I really want my quarterback to do, which is threaten deep with a deep pass to keep two high safeties, one safety, an extra safety back out of the box. Mm-hmm. And then threaten with their legs so that one of the guys remaining in the box is forced to spy him. And sure enough, Brock Purdy did that. And we saw it in the Lions game where they had two high safeties. And then one of the guys left in the box had to have eyes on Brock. And that's how that whole comeback was spurred against them. And I couldn't be happier about it. But some people still think I hate Brock or something. I never hated him in the first place. I just thought he was kind of mid in 2022. Yeah. That's pretty high praise for a rookie. Let's be honest.
It is.
Top 16 in the NFL as a rookie, especially Mr. Irrelevant. But when you say mid, it's a derogatory term, and I get it. And I did mean to kind of rile people up. It really bit me in the butt for sure.
So what's your favorite part about being a content creator?
Really honestly, it's like right now going to training camp and seeing the other content creators and getting to know them better. We all sit, we try and get upper rows of the bleachers all in one section together so that we can all kind of compare notes as things happen. It's like, oh, did you see that? That was a drop, or what was it? Just a bad pass, or it's hard. People who maybe haven't been to camp maybe don't know how difficult it is because, first of all, you have two fields going on. A lot of times, the starters are on the far field, so you're looking through a group of players at a group of players that are maybe not 100 yards away, but maybe 80 yards away, 75, and there's no instant replay, there's no announcer. And so it really helps to have like a bunch of people around you for extra eyes to help you figure out exactly what happened. And then that way you can kind of record it and then tell the rest of the people who can't be there what's going on. Because, there are people, I don't know if you have this in Philadelphia, Mitch, but in the Niners reporting group, there are people that are like homers and there are people that are like haters. And I really like to try and be that guy in the middle, that's just honest. And here's what I saw and here's what it is so that people can make their own decisions based off real information.
Yeah. So what's your least favorite part about being a content creator?
Politics, people, bashing each other, trying to get ahead by putting other people down. I just don't think that's ever the way, it's like they say, it's hard to fly when you're holding someone down. And I totally believe that. I think if you're doing the good stuff, then that should speak for itself. You just shouldn't have to put people down. But, That's probably it. The bickering and people saying one thing and doing another. Say,
Yeah.
oh yeah, sure, I'm happy to come on. And like, oh, I can only be here for like half an hour or whatever the case may be is. And I try to, if I'm going to go on with somebody, I try to be on as long as they need me and not like set an artificial limit.
Yeah.
Just like, oh hey, I gotta go. But yeah.
Yeah. So, how'd you become a member of the Hardcore Sports Network? Not a lot of people know this. It's kind of different.
Weren't we both in another group together?
It was Let's Talk Sports.
Let's Talk Sports.
Yeah.
And a great group of folks, and retweeting each other's stuff and liking each other's stuff and watching each other's stuff and helping each other and being guests on each other's shows.
Yeah.
And I think you just told me like, hey, I'm going to start my own. Do you want to come be a part of it? And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've had all good experiences. Well, not all. There's been one or two that I've been in that, where the person running it maybe was a little unscrupulous. But Let's Talk Sports has been great. Hardcore Network's been great. The one I was in was run by a guy named Kali, where I got the tap to become a sports writer. That's obviously was great.
Yeah,
I credit a lot of my growth to being in that group. So very cool stuff. And thanks again for having me.
Of course. What's your favorite part about being involved in a Hardcore Sports Network?
Well, I mean, I love your group chat on Twitter and X, but I also like you have a great Facebook group as well too.
Yeah.
And we get to have a little banter back and forth as Eagles and 49ers fans. It seems like our two teams are two of the best in the NFC on a regular basis. Maybe not last year for y'all, but I have no doubts that the Eagles will be back again this year. It looked like you had a hell of a draft. And, obviously Jalen Hurts is a really good QB. You've got A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith and that great O-line. And now, who was the running back you guys just Saquon? No.
Saquon. We got Saquon. Yep.
Saquon Barkley. Wow.
Yeah, we got Saquon. We drafted Will Shipley.
Yeah.
And we still have Kenneth Gainwell.
Yes.
It's like, whoopee.
He's solid. Yeah. Very solid back.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, and both of those corners that you drafted look amazing. So yeah, I expect the Eagles to be, I mean, I guess as long as we're talking about it, I still kind of think the Niners are the class of the NFC.
Yeah.
But I think right below us is like Eagles, Lions, Packers. I think all three of those teams are the teams I worry about the most for the 49ers to get through to and through the playoffs. Surprise one in the NFC might be the Rams, just because
I heard that. Yeah.
They lost Aaron Donald, but like they really revamped their O-line. I hate their weapons, but that's a term of, I mean, it's respect.
Yeah.
I hate them because they're division rivals, but I respect their weapons of Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams last year in 2023 was, you could say, every bit as effective as CMC. He just was injured a little bit, so he just didn't have as many totes, carries, touches, snaps. But on a per snap basis or per touch basis, he was very comparable to CMC. Good tight ends with Tyler Higbee and a few other decent ones they've got there. They can all block and catch. That's kind of what I look for in a tight end, and kind of what I wish the Niners had, a second one that could. Maybe it'll be Logan Thomas. I don't know, and then they look like they got some good draft picks. Obviously Aaron Donald being gone is going to be a big loss for them, but with that offense, I think they're going to be able to outscore a lot of teams with that offense. And Matt Stafford's a hell of a quarterback. He gets a lot of grief, but he's got a hell of an arm, and he's got that ring. So
here's something that we may not know about you.
Something that you may not know about me. All right. So like, I'm a big guy, right? I look well, I guess when I was a little bit bigger, like last year at training camp when I was 335, 325. People thought I looked like a nose tackle or a center. I actually, I shouldn't say played quarterback, but went out for quarterback in high school. I had a good arm. I never made starting quarterback, but I did make the team. But I guess, my sport that I was really excelled at in high school was not football. Where I was always a starter and usually top of my team was actually cross-country running.
Really? Whoa, okay.
It's crazy for a guy my size. Well, because I wasn't this size. I was 6'1", 180, 190, which was still kind of big for cross-country. But at one point, I ran a 5-mile course that I had, and I ran it twice in a row in 50 minutes. So I ran 10 5-minute miles back to back to back to back to back.
Wow.
So that's something that not many people know about me.
So actually, when I was in high school, I managed my high school cross-country team. I was the manager there, so I would be the guy calculating on the stats and whatever. So that's what I did. I managed that, wrestling, track. I go on and on. So
nice. Yeah, I mean, I was always top or near the top of my school. It was a small high school, different than the one I switched schools to play football my junior year. But bottom line was, compared to the rest of the conference or whatever you want to call it, I was never really the top because while I could run 10 5-minute miles for 10 miles, when I'm running 2, 3, 4 mile, or it was 3.5, 4-mile courses, I never really ran much faster than that on those courses. So that was I could maintain my top speed for a really long distance, but the races were too short for me to really shine. There are people who could run faster for shorter periods than me.
Yeah. So this is going to be a tough one. Top 5 favorite 49ers players of all time.
Yeah, that's definitely very tough. I mean, I got to start with Joe and Steve. Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jerry Rice, Ronnie Lott, and I'll go with at least one current here, and I'll go with George Kittle. I really love George Kittle.
Really? Okay. I didn't know that. Jeez.
Yeah, I have his jersey. He's been my favorite ever since he got here. I just love his attitude. I love that he likes to. I like lunch pail guys that are hard workers, that do the dirty work. That's why Draymond Green has always been my favorite Warrior. A little bit less the last couple seasons.
I was gonna say there. I was gonna say
a little tougher to back old Dre. Especially with the punch and whatnot, and then getting more suspensions that season. Yeah. The one that was, sort of not, I shouldn't say unlimited, but it was undefined suspension. So a little bit tougher, but I like guys who, like basketball players who play defense. Yeah. Football players who block. Guys who are smart, guys who are hardworking, maybe not the most talented, gifted guys, but the ones who, and Kittle is hilarious too. I mean, guys, he's a highlight reel on and off the field. So
what advice would you give a new content creator?
Just stick with it. Make sure to follow the advice of people who help you. That's something that I could have done better as far as, doing more shorts on YouTube. I do a lot of long form content, and, this like an ADD generation, and people just don't have time or bandwidth to sit down for an hour and a half to watch a show. So cutting up shorts is helpful, and also do more TikTok. I've heard a lot of people have a lot of success doing that. I'll probably start doing a little bit more of that as the real actual season starts. Yeah. But for now, I've been focusing a little bit more on the bike channel until we have some real hard news. Camp here will be a little nice break to get some real stuff going on besides the Brandon Ayuk saga that's been going on.
As an Eagles fan, I love it. I gotta say that. I love that. I just gotta say it.
I think a lot of it is just for ratings and clicks, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So I really think he wants to be a Niner, and I really think the 49ers want to sign. I do think there's a little bit of hey, they made this offer and all these other guys got paid, and all of a sudden that offer looks kind of silly, but not like, I don't think it's a huge, vast difference. I think we're talking 1 or 2 million above 26. I think they offered him 26. I still think it'll be 27, but I have a lot of people I know saying 28, 28.5. I think 28.5 is too high, but two people that have better sources than me, let's just say, are saying that. So we'll see.
Yeah. So shout out to Earl Cole. He's a part of our wrestling division here at Hardcore Sports. What is your favorite dream vacation destination and your favorite music?
Favorite music, it varies, but right now I'm back in a classic rock kind of phase. Since my son's been learning how to pedal and ride bikes, and I've been riding pump tracks with them and stuff. Been listening to a lot of old classic rock. His favorite song is TNT by AC/DC. So those type of songs. I'm in that phase right now, I'd say. Favorite dream vacation. I mean, the best one I've ever been on was my honeymoon in Tahiti. It was pretty amazing. However, I've seen some videos from the Maldives, sort of off the south west coast of India there. And that looks like the Tahiti on steroids. Like on Tahiti, they had like these like little condos or hotel rooms out on huts, out on piers, and like you have a glass bottom and you can jump in the water or what have you, and you can see the water while you're eating breakfast in your room or whatever. But in the Maldives, like they have that where there's a swimming pool out there too. Like in Tahiti, you have to like go out the pier and back to the hotel, the main island to go to the pool. But in the Maldives, you go to the pool and a slide and, you know, extra bigger rooms, and it looked just incredible. So that's sort of on my bucket list of a place to visit first for like beachy type, and then you know, for ski type stuff, winter stuff. We went to Park City last year, and they had some pretty nice snow and pretty good setup there. I enjoyed it. I mean, I love California skiing. It's just the snow doesn't stay nice long. It snows, and then it gets warm, and then it gets mushy, and then it turns icy.
Yeah. So to conclude this episode, pick a number 1, 2, 3, because this will be the next guest. So if you pick 1, it will be a certain person, 2, so on and so forth. So pick a number.
All right, I'll go 2. Since that's how I sign off when I say peace and go Niners.
2. Okay, that vote counts as mine. So next episode, you'll see who's the next guest. So again, thank you for stopping by, Ted. This was great getting to know you a lot better, and hopefully we'll work together more in the future. Because I know football's coming.
Always a pleasure. And we don't play each other this season, do we? So
nah, we can still talk
playoffs. I bet you we see each other in the playoffs. So
yeah, I know you're good with like King DV. I know I am on your show and everything. So
yeah, no, there's quite a few Eagles content creators that are actually really cool folks. So I love all those guys, and I appreciate the opportunity to work with every single one.
Of course. Let the people know where they can find you, and then we'll be on our way out.
Yeah, sure. So it's at TedH6 on Twitter and X. That actually works on YouTube as well. But what I'm calling the show right now is there in the bottom, Teddy Talks Ball, Bikes and Bites. But TedH6 works on Twitter or YouTube. So.
Mm-hmm. All right, that sounds good. And guys, you can catch this on Spotify. Right after this episode, it will be right on Spotify. I need to get your podcast. We'll talk about that and to get it on Spotify. So without further ado, guys, please subscribe to Ted. Subscribe to the Hardcore Sports Network. Hit the like, especially, and we'll catch you all later. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Go Birds.